Hi everyone, and welcome to Our Land, Our Stories. Today we're going to be having a look at this series, and in particular the middle primary section of Our Land, Our Stories. So as we get started, a word of advice for viewers. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are advised that the webinar may contain images and voices of people who have passed away. I want to acknowledge that I am on Kabi Kabi country up here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and I want to acknowledge the Gubbi Gubbi and Kabi Kabi's people whose land I'm on. Pay my respects to elders past, present and those emerging. I also want to acknowledge the land on which you are presently situated and acknowledge the language group of your land. Here's where I am today. You may know this map. This is the IATSIS map of Australia, and it's part of this series, Our Land, Our Stories. It's a great one for you to use in the classroom. You can use it with the children to talk about the different places they've visited, which language groups belong to that country that they have been to before. And you'll find it in the back cover of the little red, yellow and black book. So please use it. It's a great resource. You can also access the IATSIS map of Australia through this web link, and you can electronically and digitally move a lens that will highlight and make large the different language groups as you scroll over the map. I encourage you to use that and give the kids a go on your big interactive whiteboards in your classrooms. So today we're going to look at the middle primary section of Our Land, Our Stories, and this is a landmark series from Nelson St Gage and IATSIS. Here is the big series breakdown. So here you're seeing all components of the series, the upper primary, middle primary and the lower primary sections. We're going to be looking at that middle primary section today. And if you purchase this, you get the teacher resource book and a copy of the little red, yellow and black book from IATSIS, which has in the back cover that map of Indigenous Australia. You'll get 3 copies of the big books, as you can see them here behind me, with these beautiful front covers of artwork that we were able to access through that partnership with IATSIS. Some of this artwork has never been out or seen publicly from that collection, so we feel really honoured to have these beautiful, bright and vivid images adorning the front covers of these big books. And when I'm talking about big books, these books are big. They're great, and we're going to have a look at them today. You also get the box, which you can see behind me, full of those learning cards. Each learning card comes with 6 copies so that you can use those in small group activities and shared reading with the students. There's 5 cards on country place, 5 cards on culture and 5 cards on people. And these interact and connect with the concepts that are shared in those big books. So let's have a look. Today we're having an overview of the middle primary section. We're going to look at the big book, in particular the Country Place big book, and we're going to link that to the learning card Welcome to Country that you can see here with Auntie Caroline Briggs. We're then going to look at how Our Land, Our Stories supports you to embed that cross-curriculum priority in the Australian curriculum, and also how it supports you to demonstrate the Australian Professional Standards for Teaching 1.4 and 2.4. So let's dive right in. Here's that front cover, beautiful artwork. There's even activities that you can do about that front cover in the front cover of the big book. We're going to be using the teacher resource book, which you can see in the middle here, and that learning card from Auntie Caroline Briggs talking about Welcome to Country. The teacher resource book that you can see in the middle is a keystone for this series. I strongly encourage you to have this by your side at all times when you're looking at the big books and the learning cards. It helps to tell you how they're all connected, what the learning pathways are, and also tells you about the learning activities and the protocols that you may need to be aware of when working with the content here. So let's have a look what's part of the middle primary series. In the big books, the students will explore what country means to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and the importance of looking after country. We also look at the many cultures of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and the achievements of important Indigenous Australians. The cards, they will support the content in the big books. So in particular, in this part of the series, we're going to head up to the Tiwi Islands and we're going to learn what it's like for people up there in their community, on their country and in their place. We look at Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island traditions such as making possum skin cloaks, stories that are depicted in rock art and paintings, and the world's first bakers. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander individuals who have also made an impact in Australia and have made that significant contribution to Australia's growth and development. So the learning pathways, how this series is all connected. We start off with the big books, and as I mentioned, this is a great opportunity for your whole class to gather around and look at the information and see the beautiful images in these big books. They will be linked to the learning cards, the little yellow, red, black book, and other books that you can see here, in particular one that Auntie Caroline Briggs has written about the Bunwurrung people. So it all links, but let's first have a look at this big book. In particular today, we're looking at Welcome to Country and the difference between a welcome to country and an acknowledgement of country. You can see here as we zoom in to that big book page that we can understand a bit better that difference and what would we do ourselves. Would we be doing an acknowledgement of country? If we were a non-Indigenous Australian, we would do that acknowledgement. Also, for Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who are not on country, they too would do an acknowledgement of country. Welcome to countries are reserved for those people who belong to that country, as they extend a welcome and offer protection to visitors who are on their land. The big book goes into more detail there, and you can share that with your students. Remember, the key components to this series are how everything connects. So we have the big books, which have that content, the teacher resource book, which helps us to unpack elements that are in the big book and align it to those learning cards. And we're going to be looking at that one from Auntie Caroline Briggs today. Another great feature of this series are the QR codes, which brings this resource alive even more, either with more resources or actually hearing or seeing those people that are sharing their story in those learning cards. So how do QR codes work? Let's check it out. When you scan the QR code on the back of the card, either with an Apple device or an Android device, you will need a QR code reader. This will automatically happen when you use the camera function on an iPhone, but if you're using an Android device, you will need to download a free QR code reader. So I encourage you to do that when you purchase this series. When we scan that QR code, it will take us to the IATSIS website where Auntie Caroline Briggs will read this card, and she will be sharing some of that Bunwurrung language so that when you see that language written, you will give it a go yourself, because you can see how that Aboriginal language is phonetically represented. So give it a go. So Auntie Caroline Briggs does a welcome to country here, and I'm going to zoom in here so that you can have a look at the words as she shares that welcome to country.
Wominjeka, welcome to country. My name is Ngawi Caroline Briggs, founder of the Bunwurrung Foundation. We pay our respects to our ancestors, our elders, and our future. Wominjeka, Merrimbik, Bunwurrung, Nermderp, Barupton, Ata Willem. Translate, it means welcome to our beautiful home, the lands of the two great bays. The people of the river. We are the people of the traditional Biranga country, the Yalaka Weelam, the people of the river. Gayam, Bareen, Galeen, Eastern Kulin Nation consists of 5 major language groups. The Bunwurrung, our neighbours, the Woiwurrung, the Wadawurrung, the Jajawurrung, and the Dunwurrung. Gundaluk, my great-grandmother, was from the Yaluk Weelam clan of the Bunwurrung language group. She was born in the 1830s. At the same time, the Europeans arrived and settled here on our Biranga, Melbourne. According to our traditions, our big land has always been protected by our creator, Bunjil, who travels as an eagle, and Bawan, who travels as a crow and protects our waterways, Nam, Port Phillip Bay, Bangani, Lick, Billabongs, Orny, creeks and rivers, and Orny, our oceans, our sea. Bunjil taught us to always welcome guests, but he required the Bunwurrung people to ask all visitors to make a number of Dambal promises to obey the Wurrungs, the laws of Bunjil, not to harm the lands and waters, and not harm our bubups, the children. The Bunwurrung people often speak of the lands and waters as their traditional connection and responsibility. It is the Awits, the elders, the holders of knowledge, responsibility to look after the Kulinik, Murnik, Kulan, Il, Baluk, families, groups, and all individuals who live on this land. We always pay respects to our ancestors and the land.
How beautiful is it to hear that language spoken by Auntie Caroline Briggs? It's just wonderful. You know, when we were working and putting together this series, teachers and people that we talked to in the community said, you know, it's no good just having language there unless you can hear it. So that was one of the key things that we wanted to ensure when we produced Our Land, Our Stories, was to make you feel more confident and to be able to interact with language rather than just read it or stumble over it, making sure that you could hear it and hear that beauty that we've just heard from Auntie Caroline. Thank you, Auntie. So that teacher resource book I mentioned before, it is one of the key aspects of this series. It's there to guide you and give you that confidence as you work through the series and connect to the big books and the learning cards and those aspects that are revealed through the QR codes. It's an essential teaching tool, and it's about having meaningful teaching instruction. Okay, so the learning intentions are articulated straight up. We flag any of those cultural protocols that you should be aware of. So we remove that fear and anxiety that teachers may hold about not wanting to do the wrong thing. We then also give you some discussion points to broaden out your knowledge and give you that holistic perspective when you're working with this. And remember, today we're looking at Welcome to Country. And then the learning activities will support you, okay, with the information that you've learnt through the big book and the learning cards. It will support you to unpack that with the students and scaffold their learning where appropriate. So let's have a look at some of those functions that the QR codes give you. When you open up the teacher resource book, on the top of any of these pages here where you see the thumbnail of the learning card or the pages from the big book that are being covered, you'll have a QR code. Again, scan on that and it will take you to the Nelson Cengage website this time, where again you will click on a link and it will lead you to these additional resources and links that will support you. And you can see here with this one that we're going to be looking at the Bunwurrung. It takes you to their website, and we also will be looking at other aspects that will support you here, again to give you that holistic picture. Simply click on that QR code to reveal those additional resources. As you can see here in the teacher resource book, this is where it is aligned to that page that I showed you before about the Welcome to Country and the difference between a welcome and an acknowledgement of country. There's many learning activities here that you can work with students on. Let's take a look at them now. As you can see here, the Our Land, Our Stories Country Place Big Book is written by author Joanne Crawford. It tells you a little bit about her background, and a synopsis is given about the book as a whole. The QR code is at the top to access those additional resources. There's some information there about the cover and the artwork, and you can see where this picture and this artwork is from. And you can read the description of the painting and work with students to unpack that. Here we are looking specifically about pages 3 to 7, about what is country. And the learning intention is articulated, and you can see here in the teaching pathway how it is encouraging you to look at those pages of pages 3 to 7 about what is country in the Country Place Big Book. It also encourages you, after reading this, to go to the Welcome to Country card and the notes on pages 24 to 25. So that's what we're going to do today. Protocols are flagged, so this is anything that you need to be aware of culturally that will ensure that you are being culturally appropriate. They're flagged at the get-go. The discussion points provide that holistic perspective, and then we go into the learning activities. Some of these are my favourites here that you could look at. I remember being shared information from an elder here on Kabi Kabi country who said that by the age of 9, children would need to have done their apprenticeship. You know, they would need to know the mountains, the rivers, the plants, all of those aspects. They were the important things to learn. So we're going to take the children through that. We're going to get them to look at their local community and to identify, you know, the mountains, the hills, or the features that they are surrounded by when they are, you know, reflecting on their country and place. What are the waterways or sources of waters within their landscape? And what are some of the local native plants and animals? That was question 2 there. We also look at in question 3C, it's another favourite one of mine, is drawing around the children's hand so that they can then identify which language group of the land that they're on. What is the significant landforms? So for me here on Kabi Kabi country, you can see how I've given an example there. The language group is Kabi Kabi people. A significant landform on country here are the Glasshouse Mountains. An animal or plant that is significant to this country is the bunya tree. The waterways, in particular the Mary River, and a significant event are the bunya gatherings that are held every year in January here on country. So the activities here support the children to unpack and connect better to the country and place on which they are on. There are also the links to the Australian curriculum to ensure that this is built in and not bolted on. We're going to turn the page and have a look at other aspects. After reading the pages in the big book, we're inspired to learn a bit more from Auntie Carolyn Briggs there with her Welcome to Country card. When we open up to page 24 and 25, it gives us that guidance around the learning intention, the pathways, protocols, discussion points, and the learning activities. This is set up, this activity, for schools to reflect on what are they doing to acknowledge country. There are opportunities to perform audits around the school to see how your school is faring in respect to acknowledging country. You know, when we acknowledge country, we can do it through verbally, through the parade, by making acknowledgement of countries at the start of every week parade and those formal events. We might have signage over the front door at the front gate that acknowledges whose country we are on. It could also be done through flying the flags, through the murals and artworks that you have around your school. And when we also acknowledge country, we are including our local traditional custodians and historic community members to be a part of our school. At the back of the middle primary book, you'll see that we've made and put some contacts there for you to reach out to local councils and organisations within your local area and states. They will be able to provide guidance for you as to who you could contact so that you can acknowledge country correctly. There's also a QR code there that will lead you to more contacts and information, so I strongly encourage you to use it. So, I hope you've enjoyed unpacking the middle primary section with me today, looking at the big book of Country Place and how that information connects to the learning card by Auntie Caroline Briggs with her Welcome to Country. The learning activities will show you how you have been responsive in connecting to that cross-curriculum priority from the Australian curriculum, and those pedagogies that we've used in those learning activities will help you to demonstrate confidently 1.4 and 2.4 of the professional standards for teachers. So, Our Land, Our Stories. It's a great series. I strongly encourage you to connect with it. It will support you in your teaching and your professional role to ensure that all students, not just Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, but all students learn about the beauty and the diversity of our First Nations peoples. If you would like more information about Our Land, Our Stories, please use the link here or get in contact with one of our Nelson Primary Sales consultants who can come and bring the resource out to your school with no pressure, but just so that you can see how beautifully curated this series is. Thanks again for joining me for Our Land, Our Stories. Hope you enjoy other webinars that we have created that will provide you more information about how to use this amazing resource. Talk to you soon.